Morning, everybody. Michael Morgan here. The purpose of this video is to talk about why it is we have an album of the week. A couple people have been asking about that, but many, many more people have actually been contacting me and thanking me and saying that the music has actually been helping them get through this relatively tough time. And this is not something new for us. This has been, pretty much my whole career that we've been using music in the classroom. So let's do a few comments about why we're doing this. First off, over the past, call it 20 years, music education has all but disappeared from classrooms in America. And that's criminal in my mind. We absolutely need to have music education. Turn on the radio today, and there's not singers or dancers. They're not playing their own instruments. They're not writing their own music. Everything's being done with technology, and I love tech, but it shouldn't substitute for actual artistic skills. So what we're doing is we are introducing you to very classic albums, multiple genres, not just rock and roll. And these are albums that had a huge influence on society. They changed music. They defined a genre. They defined a generation. Uh, Sergeant Pepper, which we featured at the end of the year, truly defined a generation. So I'm looking for albums that told a story and set a mood and that changed music. There's a lot of albums that I love to listen to that will never be on these lists because they're just not that important in the grand scheme of things. And there are some that we're going to include that you may only listen to once and hate, but at least you've heard them because they're important. A really good example of that is you might not like A Love Supreme by John Coltrane or Bitches Brew by Miles Davis, but these were really important albums that had a big effect on music. And then we have ones that really told a story of a situation. A Wall by Pink Floyd, the anger that Roger Waters felt towards the British school system, towards the class system, uh, anger towards World War II, losing his father, uh, and The Wall really just had this huge impact on music. So we started off the year, you might remember, with a couple by the Beatles, which was Rubber Soul and Revolver. And that was the first time that you really heard an album, something that you played straight through. It wasn't just a collection of singles. It wasn't, a bunch of 2.5 minute pop songs that were unrelated to each other, written by different people. These were written by the Beatles, recorded by the Beatles. They played all the instruments. They sent out a message. And after hearing the huge impact that Rubber Soul had, Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys went out and did something very not Beach Boys and recorded this amazing album called Pet Sounds. Uh, Not well received by the public, very well received by the music community. Everybody in music loved Pet Sounds and praises how good it is. And I've told you in some of these other videos, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, check out Echo in the Canyon, the film about the Laurel Canyon music scene in the late 1960s. And after hearing Pet Sounds, Paul McCartney and John Lennon went into the studio and did Sergeant Pepper, which may be, the definitive album uh, for that generation, if not for music. And to have that effect, to be an artist like Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, to influence the Beatles, that was huge. Paul McCartney says that for each of his kids, I think he's got like 6 children, uh, one adopted, the rest his between a couple different wives, that on, I think it's their 12th birthday, he's given each one of his children a copy of Pet Sounds and said, here, listen to this. People are just as upset and angry as you are. It's just not you going through all this. And the other thing that I want to bring up about Album of the Week right now is I'm recording this while we are locked at home because of the COVID-19 situation. And I spent a lot of time alone when I was young. Most of you know I did a lot of sailboat racing, a lot of long distance sailboat racing. And when you are isolated from the rest of the world, you need your escape. And for me, it was always the headphones on my old Walkman and listen to the music. Uh, when I was not happy living at home, when I was in high school, uh, tumultuous time between myself and my father, music was my escape. And it gave me a chance to be somewhere else, even if it was just for those 45 minutes that I listened to that album. I was able to lock out uh, the rest of the world. So I want to encourage you to put on your headphones and listen to some music. And the album of the week, good choices. Go also listen to what you know is your comfort music, what makes you happy, but expand it from what's on the radio today, because what's on the radio right now is not really very good, and I think you can find much better stuff out there. Uh, so that's kind of why we do album of the week. And for those of you who aren't in my classroom on a regular basis, we typically play it during whatever labs we're doing that week, and a few other times, just so the music's there, people get a chance to hear it. And make it, you know, an important part of your life. Okay, so that's why we do album of the week. Everybody stay home and stay safe.